Hello and welcome. We are in Yerushalmi Berachos, Daf Chaf Aleph, and in the Oz V'Hadar print, we're going to be talking about Tefillin today and some different very fascinating halachas that come out of the Yerushalmi. Of course, not halacha l'maisa, but just as to be or different Mara Makomos. And tomorrow we're going to talk about Be'ez Hashem, the wife of David, Shaul's daughter Michal, who put on tefillin, and hopefully Yonas, whose wife was Ola Regel, which is mentioned here as well. It starts on this dot, but we're going to talk about it tomorrow because we need some stuff from Chav Beis. So, and you'll see some styles of the Yerushalmi that are very, very common. So the first thing is that the Gemara tells us, seemingly explicitly, what bracha do you make on tefillin? Kishu nosen al yad mahu omer. What bracha does he make on tefillin? He says, Baruch Asher Kitchonos Esav Tzivanu Al Mitzvos Tefillin. And Kishu Nosen Al Rosh Ma'omer, what does he say? This is Rabbi Zreikan in the name of Rav Yochanan, Rav Yaakov Bar Idi. So he says, when you put on the Shel Yad, what do you say? Baruch Asher Kitchonos Esav Tzivanu Al Mitzvos Hanachas Tefillin. Not exactly the words we use, but pretty close. Kishu Choltza Mahu Omer, the third bracha, when he takes them off, what does he say? Baruch Asher Kitchonos Esav Tzivanu Lishmar Chukav. Okay, so first of all, the simple reading of the Yerushalmi seems to be arguing with the Bavli, or at least a simple reading of the Bavli. Yerushalmi seems to be saying explicitly, seemingly, that when a person puts on tefillin, he makes two brachos, which is the minhag ha'olam that most people are familiar with, although there are many people who are going to be listening, they're going to say, no, I only make one bracha. There's different minhagim, okay? But the Mishabura seems to paskin that we should make two brachos, one on the shel yad, and we put it on one on the shel rosh. Okay. Agav, the last part of taking off, when we take off until we make a bracha, this, of course, we're not knowing, most of us, and many people say that when we say the words Nishmar Chukecha Olam Hazev and Nichya V'Nira in Uval Tzion, we should have that in mind, that's the version of the bracha. Rishon Zalman has a shtickle on this, and also he mentions that that's why it's brought down in the poskim that some people could take their tefillin off at the end of davening. Of course, it's better to keep it on longer. You get a mitzvah. Remember, like the Yerushalmi is talking about how they used to wear it all day, etc. But really, of course, it's better to take it off at the end of davening, like the Mishabura says. It's better not to wrap your tefillin or talis or remove it to therefore miss Kaddish or answering Amen or Kedusha, etc. But there are some people that they take it off after that Nishmar Chukecha because it's maramis to that bracha when they take it off. Okay, so, but the simple reading of the Gemara seems to be saying that you make two brachas. Now, the Bavli mentions both these concepts, the concept of two brachas, seemingly, and the concept of making a bracha when you take it off as well. The Bavli is located in Menachos. Most of you are familiar. That's where the sugya is. It's on Daf, mostly on Daf Lamed Vav and Aleph. Ayin Sham. There's a lot of Rishonim that bring down the Yerushalmis here. So there, the Gemara seems to say explicitly that the only time the Gemara seems to say the only time you make two brachas is if you talked in between putting them on Shel Yad and Shel Rosh, and that's seemingly how Rashi reads it, and the Rif and the Rambam also seems to learn like that. The Rif is in Hilchos Tefillin, the Rambam is in Hilchos Tefillin as well, Perik Dalet Halacha Dalet and Hey, and basically they explain that at least Shitas Rashi and seemingly reading of the Gemara is that you only make one bracha on Tefillin, but that if you talk in between, then you make two brachas. Rabbeinu Tam argues vehemently, Ki Yadua, and Rabbeinu Tam in Menachos, like I said again, Lamed Vav, Lamed Aleph, there Maskal Lo Sach, and the Rush also brings this down. He says no, that really you make two brachas on them. Period. The Gemara is only saying that if you talked, then you need to repeat the bracha, and you make two brachas on the Shel Rosh. Ayin Sham. Now the Yerushalmi here seems to be explicitly saying that you make two brachos no matter what, and the Bavli, the simple reading of the Bavli is like Rashi, that it's saying you only make one bracha on tefillin. Okay, so a couple of Mara Makomos. It's just interesting to see this machlokas, and again the Mara Panim and many Mefarshim have different explanations. So the Rif actually seems to quote that he has a text of a Yerushalmi that says, like his shita that he paskins, they only make one bracha. But then what's going on over here? So some of them Mefarshe the Yerushalmi, and this is where the Girsos and other things, some of them point to a later Yerushalmi in Perik Tes, Halacha Gimel, Ayin Sham, which is very hard to understand. And the Ramban in his Chidushim even talks about this as well. But some people try to say that in this Gemara, it's only saying, if you only put on one pair of tefillin, what bracha do you make? If you only put on a Shel Rosh, you only put on a Shel Yad. Now, it's extremely doche because it's not Pashup Shot in the words, although you could argue that there is a story of someone only putting on one, so maybe that's what it's referring to, but that's very shver. That's not the simple reading, but again, that's how the Rishonim would try to fit the two together. But it is Yeah, the Yerushalmi seems to be going like Rabbeinu Tam, and again we see that Rabbeinu Tam was often influenced by Yerushalmi, and he held that it had significance in halacha, and he tries to reconcile the Bavli with it. It's just interesting. Obviously, everyone should follow their own minhag. Mishabura does state explicitly that both options are valid, but he poskins that the halacha is for Bnei Ashkenaz that they should make 2 brachas. It's brought down in Svarim. I've seen this brought down that the Chavetz Chaim himself, his minhag was only to make 1 bracha. So again, there's a lot of discussion here, but that's because that was his minhag, and he himself would agree that's how you should follow your minhag. But anyway, it's just very interesting to see this back and forth over here. The second thing about tefillin is also very fascinating. We know that we don't put on tefillin on Shabbos and Yantif. So in the context of the Gemara actually brings 2 proofs for this. And it's interesting, even though the Bavli doesn't bring these exact proofs. So Ravo, my name Rabbi Lazar, says that when you put on tefillin at night, you're over an asay, which the Bavli agrees with. You're not allowed to put it on, because it says, Shamar tesachuka azos l'mo'ada miyamim yimima. It's only at daytime that you wear tefillin. And the Bavli agrees with this as well. We don't wear tefillin at night for many, many reasons. And it says, yamim v'lo leilos. Then it darshans yamima, days. What does that mean? It's a double expression. So this is prat l'shabbasos yom tovim. This excludes Shabbos and Yantif. Okay? So meaning, everyone knows that, we don't put on tefillin because it's an os. That's not what this sheet is saying. This sheet is saying it's kind of a gzeres hakasaf. Okay? Then other people bring down, the Yerushalmi brings down later, is to buy Maimer. No. Misham and Ada, there's a proof from here. That's the vart of the os. Okay? So that's the one that says that on Shabbos and Yantif, prat yom tovim mishabbasos, and Shabbos and Yantif, shekul an os, it's an os, therefore you don't need it. Now, let me just say something interesting. This is a sheet of Yerushalmi that you find often. The Yerushalmi asks, wait, Leslach, what happened to the pasuk of Yom Yimima? Why don't you darshan that? So normally the Bavli would have nafkaminas and splits and split hairs. The Yerushalmi answers, you're right, they're both right. But it's like Rabbi Yochanan said, which is the author of Yerushalmi, Kol Mila Delo Machvarta, it's not really clear, meaning it's not like explicitly stated in the Torah. Therefore, Masachina Le Min Asrin Sagi means a lot. We bring a lot of proofs for it. So that's how the Yerushalmi answers it, that we're bringing 2 different proofs. So 2 ha'aras that are very interesting. So So the first ha'ara is that the word yamim yemima is what we're darshaning here, because why does it say yemima at day? So we're saying that excludes certain days. Only some days do you put tefillin on, but we're excluding Shabbos and Yantif. So the Bavli in Erev and Amanachos both say that's not what it learns it from. It learns it from the word miyamim. Okay, the word yamim implies not night, and the mem, the extra mem of miyamim, is where the Gemara, the Charedim breaks this down. Darshans that some days are excluded Shabbos and Yantif. The Yerushalmi is not learning that. It's going more with a pashup shot of the pasuk that miyamim is one drasha, only a day and not a night, and yemima is only certain days. It's just very interesting that it does that. And then a second ha'ara is that that's very famous, that Tosas and the Rush and other Rishonim and Erev and Menachos all discuss whether Chol HaMoed is included in this. Meaning, is it Shabbos and Yantif, and is Chol HaMoed a Moed? Is it a Yantif? What is it? Is it an Os? Is it not an Os? And the Zohar, there's many, many different opinions that are Yadua. Obviously, everyone has different sources, but it's just interesting to see that it's not so clear. Ayin Shaman or Chaim, Simon Lamed Aleph, with much to talk about over there. And the last point that I wanted to bring down is very, very fascinating, which is that the first source that the Yerushalmi here brought down, the Yerushalmi continued and said, no, that's not talking about tefillin, that's talking about Karban Pesach, a halacha there. So it comes out that, according to one opinion, according to Rabbi Kiva, where is it? That it's referring to Pesach, therefore he needs the second drasha. There is no drasha, lechora, according to that one das, that to exclude that you're not allowed to wear it at night. So it could be that there is one sheet in the Yerushalmi here that it comes out, if you kind of follow it through, that you would actually be allowed to wear tefillin at night, according to that one shita, which again would explain some of the shitas that you find and Rishonim how you read it. Anyway, those are just some interesting ha'aras, and like I said, stay tuned for tomorrow some more. I got it to focus on the tefillin of Michal Bas Shaul, or is that really his name? Because that's not how the Yerushalmi refers to him. All right, thank you for joining.